Hello again, end users, and welcome to episode 6. It's been a little while. In this episode, I talk about Dirty Dave's Power User Tips, a post that I did on my blog. Yes, I said blog, bilge.world. I'm blogging. Regarding some of my favorite software and a few lesser-known methodologies for doing things on the computer, all is capitalized, that I've discovered over my years of just fucking around. I figured I'd do a listicle, and it's not exactly a listicle. I hope it's a little bit above that, maybe. Is there above? Not. Oh, hello. That's Echo. Hi, Kitty. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, reintroduce myself to you guys. Before I talk about that, I wanted to mention that I'm being interviewed, or have been interviewed over the past week, and kind of an ongoing thing, by Write.As's community manager. That's Write.As, is in, put that in a web browser and see where you end up. I don't know why I said it like that, but his name is CJ Eller, and he's a cool guy who seems to like me on the internet, at least for now, which is cool. And I talked about Markdown, in general, why I write about technology, and of course the tips post that I'm about to talk in depth with you on, and Extratone, and where that's been, some of the challenges of creating it, creating a community, creating a platform, and a little bit of where it's been going, well, where it may be going. It seems like both CJ and I are interested in, for lack of a better term, just fucking around on the web. We like trying new ways to do things, new ways to think about things. I might have plagiarized that from his about, actually. So we have been doing this interview on Arena, ARE.NA, which is a service that's actually existed since 2011. Some architects really like it. It's a sort of a social web service based on blocks, as in text blocks that you can move around. You really got to see it for yourself. That link is, it's currently pinned as my top tweet at NeoYokel, if you're really interested. But you'll see a link coming up on bilge.world too when they actually publish it, if they do, where they do. But yeah, I really appreciate CJ for being interested and for trying that out with me. It's been a lot of fun. I think I've still got an answer or two left to clack out. But for lack of a better transition, I want to talk to you about some of my tips, Dirty Dave's tech tips. So I know that you've come across this sort of thing, like, everywhere. You've heard a bunch of cliches, I don't know, I could say a lot of things like top 10 ways to blow up your PC. But actually the Write.As account, I don't know if I've talked to you guys about Write.As. I probably should do that real quick. It's a completely new CMS. And I moved Extratone to Write.As last year. Completely. It might have been the year before. It might have been 2018. I think it was 2019. Write.As it's an open source blogging platform, and it's just beautiful and simple and everything that WordPress isn't. So I've gotten kind of involved in Write.As. They asked me if they could post Extratone's theme, basically Extratone CSS, in their themes section, Write.As/themes. So that was cool. I felt pretty honored because it's really not all that complicated. But I've become invested in this thing because it's great, and and they're investing back. CJ is the community manager, and he's been emailing back and forth with me and messaging back and forth with me, and really, you can see that was a Windows alert. You can see the way that he cares about the community. He's good at his job. So yeah, Bilge, a new blog that I have about racing stuff, dieselgoth.com, and Extratone are all hosted on Write.As. I actually want to mention they came out with submit.as, which is just a kind of an easy way to submit posts. And Extratone is once again taking submissions. So if you go to extratone.com/submissions or submit.as/extratone, you'll see a few prompts, music-related prompts, I believe. And I'd love it if you'd contact me, maybe even submit something. I'd love to hear what you think. Okay, so this post, I want you to believe me when I say it's different, but it might not be. people seem to like it. Basically, I've done a lot of stuff on the computer without actual training. I think this is like a thing that's pretty common amongst my generation. I've had to arrive at my power userness, if I am a power user. I don't know. Describing myself that way is pretty funny, as we've encountered in past episodes. I've arrived that way by basically going through a lot of pain, doing things the wrong way for a long time until I either stumbled upon or searched out different ways of doing things. And this one post represents like the wrong ways that I've been doing these things, or being without these pieces of software. The amount of struggling that I've done is like hundreds, thousands of hours, right? So I'd like to save you that time. Don't waste your life on bad software. So it's going to be pretty basic. This is end user, right? But it's also going to be profound. Number one, you need a password manager. If this is not evident to you already, I'm sorry, you just need a password manager. I saw that Joshua Benton from Neiman Lab still not using a password manager. His coworker called him out in a post on Neiman Lab. It's 2020. There is no excuse to not use a password manager. Here's what a password manager is, or rather, here's what I use my password manager for. It's called Enpass, and currently, let's pull it up here. I have 475 different credential entries into Enpass. That's 475 passwords, 475 things that I needed to store encrypted securely with one master password. There's actually different ways to authenticate. It's a tool that allows you to generate passwords, and it keeps your life together. I just can't imagine, like, if I didn't have a password manager, if I didn't have Enpass, how else in the world would I be managing 475 credential entries? That also includes my bank account information. Yes, I'll tell you, I'm that confident in Enpass. On my computer, in Enpass, stored, there is like all of my bank info, like my routing number, all that stuff, my driver's license number, anything that I need to store, like to keep handy, but secure, because it also syncs with my phone, and you really need to have a look at Enpass. So if you're not looking at the post, it's at bilge.world, by the way. Did I mention that? You should also look up some demos, or just download it yourself and try it, because it's free. It's also really just beautiful. That's why I like Enpass specifically. There's also 1Password, or actually more likely than not, you're already using a password manager in your web browser. I'm pretty sure they all have it now. You've stored credentials in your web browser before. I make the point that on Mac OS, with Safari and iOS, if you're in that sort of ecosystem, then you're already using a service called Keychain, which is not immediately evident, which basically functions as a password manager. But there's a link in there to, in case Keychain doesn't work, or in case you need to go back and manually retrieve credentials, which you probably do. I do all the time. So if you're not prompted for whatever reason, or if you need to change your password, you need to know how to use Keychain. I also addressed, like, I'm not going to tell you who to trust. I will say that I think Apple's incentives are aligned to maintain your privacy more than other services like Google, or even Mozilla, really. But yeah, I still use my browser password managers, but that's because, honestly, I'm not too worried about privacy. It's my phone number is public, so, and my address, so, it's whatever. I'm gonna just recommend Enpass one because they retweeted my post, so that's cool. And it's just the prettiest. I used to use 1Password. I'm sorry. I should say that yes, it's 2020, and yes, I did work for a technology company, an IT company that was still storing their passwords in plain text last year. Every day, I said at least once password manager, but they didn't trust me. I have been using password managers since I was like 15. I think since 1Password came out, I might be wrong about that, but I moved to Enpass and it was ridiculously easy. It involved like one file. Another thing about Enpass, I said this, I alluded to this, it uses any service you like to sync with your phone. So that can be OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, Box, iCloud Drive. Yeah, I think that's all of them. And that basically means like I don't even think about my vault syncing. Like I enter a credential into my computer and then I have to go pee, but I need to log in on my phone. I don't even have to think about it. I use Touch ID to authenticate on my phone, and they've already synced. So that's not new technology, but it is very seamless and very beautiful. I got my mom, my 70-year-old mother, on Enpass, and she really likes it, which that should really tell you something. Okay, so the next one, we've dealt with password managers, a clipboard manager. A lot of people, I'm going to start off with the reason why people don't use clipboard managers, and that's because they are essentially a keylogger. A clipboard manager, like the way, okay, you know what? I'll just read you this passage. Imagine if everything you had ever copied, as in Control-C, were listed in linear order, easily and instantly searchable via a single global keyboard shortcut, and navigable with the arrow keys. So as in anywhere I'm on my computer, all of a sudden I can pull up a instantly searchable history. I can just start typing. I don't have to move, of my entire clipboard history. That's what CopyQ is. That's what a clipboard manager is. The reason that paranoid folks don't use Clipboard Manager is because, yes, it is a keylogger in some ways, and that it does store everything you copied. So that will include passwords. Or not. You can actually make it so that the search history is any length that you set. So it could be 2 entries. In my case, it's 10,000. I recently cleaned out my Clipboard Manager the other day after literally everything I had copied, including duplicates, being stored for, a year or so. And it just occurred to me that I probably should clean it out. As far as I'm concerned, like for my life, guys, like I can't believe I just said guys. This is a YouTube video. Guys, folks, human beings. I can't believe it, human beings, that I lived without a clipboard manager for as long as I did. I only started using CopyQ in 2018, and Jesus, the clipboard, this thing, and when I say this, I really mean it. The clipboard manager turns it into something else entirely. Like we've been living with the clipboard, we've been living with Control-C, Control-F, Control-C, Control-V, for forever now. Like basically the entire history of modern computing, right? But this makes it something else entirely. It's profound. It's like a completely, I just do it. Try it. My life is made so much easier. And I did record a 30-second demo that I embedded in the post on Vimeo just to show you what I mean by instantly searchable. I use this hundreds of times a day in my workflow, right? And that's because I copy a lot of links and stuff, and I copy a lot of text. Oh, also, I didn't mention this in the post, but with F2, which is normally the keyboard shortcut for rename, right? You can edit your clipboard. Oh my God. It's just an amazing tool, and I'm mostly upset that I didn't have it. It's also free. CopyQ is free. And well, it certainly should be secure considering that I had that many entries in my computer for so long and nothing happened as far as I know. You can also export you can export your entire clipboard history. One thing that I don't use is there are actually different clipboard tabs. That's really cool. I don't know how to communicate that in audio form, but having tabs in your clipboard is incredible. Okay, so that's Clipboard Manager. Keyboard shortcuts. We all use these. Control-C, Control-V. Almost everyone uses those, right? Command-C, Command-V. I just can't. Control-Y to redo, Control-U to undo. I know these things, I just don't, I know them by hand. Well, this one shortcut that I never hear mentioned, Alt-D. I want you to go to your web browser and Alt-D for me. It's not huge. It just selects the text in the address bar. Guys, for someone who I built a media company not knowing this, I built a media company literally anytime I wanted to copy a link in the address bar, triple clicking, okay? Triple clicking to enter anything into the address bar too. And I'm embarrassed about that because, wow, Alt-D, another one of those things that I use hundreds of times a day. Just copying a lot of links. It's absolutely, invaluable. And another thing I said I haven't had any training. I was actually part of an experimental Microsoft curriculum. I talked about this before on End User, where from first through 5th grade, we had a computer class every other day or something like that with Microsoft software. It was one of the very first computer classes, and not the first modern computer classes. At least it was the first one in our district. Also the only air-conditioned building in my elementary school. That's how old I am, folks. And yet I'm not that old, but yet I am. So one thing that they never taught us, and God, I wish they had, was what happens when you use the Shift, Alt, and Control keys in conjunction with the arrow keys. So if I really almost have to do this, if I go to my text document, the show notes, and I go Alt left, it does nothing. Okay, maybe Alt's not the one I'm talking about. I meant Control. I go Control left, it selects it moves the cursor to the beginning of the next word. I believe it's if I go Shift left, it selects the character to the left, and it just continues. I think it's Control Shift left selects the word. Must be literally killing you. I'm sorry, but basically start looking into the more stuff that you can do with the arrow keys, because they're, with text specifically, they're incredible. And I didn't know any of this until last year. Again, another one of those things that I use all the time. Apparently Alt doesn't do anything. It allows you to go forward or backward in a browser. That's what don't miss that. So Alt in conjunction with the arrow keys allows you to go forward or backward in a browser rather than going up and clicking the little back thing or using your ultra gaming mouse button to go back or forward. So also, like, if you're using Windows, all of the Windows logo key, so shortcuts like Windows D, which shows the desktop, Windows R, which is run, Windows X, which pulls up the menu that has the task manager on it, Windows A, which shows your notifications. Trying to think if there's one more that I can't remember right now. The one that I did want to talk about was instead of Windows R, Microsoft is actually right now working on putting a Spotlight, like a feature that's like Spotlight in macOS, but they're working on that for Windows 10. If you're running a Mac, you probably know Command Spacebar, and Windows is going to get its version, and that's going to replace the Run menu. So that's pretty cool. They're actually doing and I don't have the link on me, maybe I'll throw it in the show notes. They're having a little poll on Twitter right now, might be over, on what to name that. There are some pretty bad names, so please make some better suggestions. But yeah, that's all the shortcuts I wanted to talk about. One thing, a tip, what I did when I was learning, I realized that I needed to start learning shortcuts. I don't know how effective it was, but I took a picture of a list of shortcuts and made it my desktop background. Of course, it's me, so instead of just making it a picture, I made a fancy overlay. So it was like a vaguely, not artistic, but vaguely pretty thing of like the text was overlaid with another picture. Basically, I made a list. I kept a list of shortcuts handy. You can print one out if you like printing as much as I do, and keep it right next to your computer, and just get yourself I know you might be getting on in years like me, so it takes like deliberate effort now to make things habits, to alter your habits. It is so worth it. It is so worth it. I promise you. So that's shortcuts. So next, I want to talk about Markdown. Markdown is a way to style text. It was created by a man named John Gruber in 1040 AD. I think it was in the 2011s, maybe. Technically, it is a text to HTML conversion tool for web writers. That's a quote from John Gruber. This is going to be one of those things that I shouldn't spend too much time just telling you about. But basically, it's a way of formatting text as in italics, bold, headings, tables that is designed to be as simple as possible. And it's what Extratone is now entirely based on Markdown, because Write.As is based on Markdown. You probably are already using Markdown in some way if you are at all a computer user. Discord supports Markdown. Slack supports Markdown formatting. So does Tumblr and now WordPress. And like I wrote a huge piece, which I actually linked, going through, like I was trying to work out the best, way to process words, right? And I ended up going through like the entire history of word processing. This is where I should have been. Markdown is the simplest way to do it. It just is. And like if you're using Microsoft Word, even though I used Microsoft Word to write this piece, I knew I would regret it. I didn't. It's actually not quite as bad anymore, but I converted it to Markdown first. Just use it, okay? Just try it. Along with Markdown, there's some cool software. I don't know if I've already talked to you about Bear, but Bear is an app for iOS and Mac OS that you should download immediately. And I downloaded immediately when someone first told me to download it immediately, and then I deleted it because I didn't get it. Mostly because I didn't realize how beautiful it was. Bear is literally, and I'm serious about this, the most beautiful piece of software I have ever seen, both functionally and stylistically. It just is a gorgeous thing to work on. It's like, okay, I am seriously considering going back to Mac OS just because of Bear. Just because of Bear. There's no other reason. Like, in every other way, Mac OS is more challenging for me. Not every, but in a lot of other ways. Like, I'm a Windows person. I'm indoctrinated to be a Windows person, and yet Bear is that good. Just try it, okay? I'm not gonna bore you. It's so gorgeous. It uses iCloud to sync. I hate the word seamlessly, but it's the most seamless. As I said, this app kind of defines the word seamless. It's just really pretty. And if you need to write things or take down notes, it is the way to do it. It's the perfect amount of customizability without being so customizable that people like me fiddle with it, which is a big thing to communicate. Like, I've tried a bunch of different word processing software because I enjoy it, but that's hindered me in big ways. As I discussed in that interview I told you about at the beginning, a little bit, I went into more depth. I've struggled with, as someone that's on the OCD spectrum, and not funny, haha, like actually am compelled to do irrational things. I have kind of, now I'm getting like heavy. I've spent too much time fiddling around with things as like tools to do things that I actually should have been using to actually do those things. Which is one of the reasons it took me a while to figure out what I should be doing. One of those things is this podcast. I love tools. I like tools. Anyway, just try Bear. Okay, it's for me. There's no replacement. Typora is what I use to do everything. So it's what I use to do the show notes, what I use to convert that piece. But Typora is too customizable, and it's not quite Bear. It can be made to look like Bear, but it's not quite Bear. Okay, so that's Markdown. Try Markdown, learn Markdown, and your life will get better. Mine has immensely, legitimately gotten better in my particular situation. But like, my life has gotten, in retrospect, ridiculously better after adopting Markdown. It really is that important to someone who works with text. So Telegram, oh my God, Telegram. Telegram is, well, now it's pretty because you can use different themes. It's a chat service, but let's start with the first use case that I argued. If you're still emailing yourself, like if you need to move a single photo to your computer from your phone, and if you're still emailing yourself, you should be using Telegram for that. Telegram has a 1.5 gigabyte file upload limit. Do what I do, and I created a private Telegram channel that no one else can see, and that's how I send myself links across devices. It's just faster. It's like faster than AirDrop. It really is. It's just, I always have Telegram open. It's lightweight. It's also, oh yeah, I've talked about Telegram with you before. Go back into that episode where I had I went through a month where I had basically no internet access. Or it was even worse than no internet access. It was just very, very little. So I spent a bunch of time trying to eke it out. Go back and listen to that episode. I talked about Telegram. Telegram, when text messages won't go through on my phone because I don't have enough signal, Telegram messages will go through instantly. And that is incredible. If you're the type of person who wants a public channel, you can create one on Telegram for free, and it's embeddable. All the posts are embeddable and linkable. And like t.me/extratone is the Telegram channel. Join that. Or, oh shucks, I forgot what the group. I don't think there's a group link. There might be. You know what? Just hit me up on Telegram, and give Telegram a try as a chat app. I know, like, this is in my relationships. I'm sure none of my exes are listening to this, but like, I've never, for whatever reason, I'm surrounded by people who don't use iOS. I literally never dated anyone with an iPhone until my current girlfriend. It's been years. So there was no iMessage, and we used Telegram because it was the place where I knew I could get in contact with them at any time. That we can send each other like files as large as they need to be, or as many as they need to be, and it's searchable too. It's better than iMessage, really. And of course, there's some privacy issues, which I don't care about, and you've probably heard about with Facebook acquiring WhatsApp. People compare those two, but I don't know. I just like Telegram, man. Look up the Paul Durvov, I think is the guy. If you have problems with him and don't use the service for that reason, whatever. Just try Telegram. It's free. So lastly, there's I think technically it's 3 different things. So this is a stretch, I know. But did you know that you can use a Bluetooth keyboard with your phone? I don't know if people just don't know this or if they're actually reasonable people unlike me and they just know it, but they're like, why would I do that? There was a funny instance. I was at Starbucks typing out something. I had a Bluetooth keyboard on the table, but I had the phone in my lap, and I guess to a passing kid, he just thought that I was typing to nothing or typing to myself or putting my head down and just typing on a keyboard to nothing. But it does look weird. But yes, you can use a Bluetooth keyboard on your phone. So those of you that need to send, for instance, okay, if you're going to send if you're just in a breakup and you're sending those long breakup texts, you know what? Take a moment, get out your Bluetooth keyboard, pair it. There you go. Save yourself so much tapping. And maybe you're one of those people that's faster on a touch keyboard than you are on a QWERTY keyboard. If that's the case, well, then this isn't a big deal. But if you're faster on a keyboard, hey, keep that. I used to keyboard when I was Uber driving. I kept a Bluetooth keyboard in my car, and I would just, when waiting for rides, I would take notes. I would write written long pieces on my phone in Bear with a Bluetooth keyboard. Try that. It's fun. It makes you feel like a power user. And also iOS, I think I might have talked about this before, supports some keyboard shortcuts. Unfortunately, it no longer supports Alt or Command Tab, but you can go Command Spacebar, and it's sort of Spotlight, and then you can hit Enter and go to, you can type some text at the beginning of the name of an app, and then hit Enter, and it'll go to that app. So that's pretty cool. It'll make you a phone power user. So this one, OBS. Open Broadcaster Software. This is the second to last tip. Okay. When I was growing up, I've been doing this kind of stuff forever. I've been making stuff for too long. Okay. It's sort of like when I get to talking about Discord. There was just never a way to do things as I wished. What I'm trying to say is I desperately wished for what would become OBS. A piece of software that allows you to just do reasonable stuff, capture the inputs and outputs of your computer. So capture video, capture audio. All of my podcasts that I've ever recorded, when we were doing live shows with people calling in, I used OBS to record them. The Open Broadcaster software, it's really powerful. For those of you that aren't, maybe can't think of a use for that. If you ever need to show someone how to do something on a computer, just keep OBS on your computer, and it's actually really fast now. There's a wizard that you don't even have to mess around with the complicated stuff. It'll just get you into recording your screen real quick. My little Surface laptop can do screen recordings and can live broadcast from OBS. That's how lightweight it is, and yet it is so powerful. So use OBS. Lastly, just a little thing. Compact OS is a way to slim down Windows 10. I did this, and it basically just removes all the bloatware. It removes things like calculator, like weather. Look into that on the post. Look into that on Microsoft's website. But yeah, that's all I have for you. I appreciate you listening. I hope that some of those tips were useful. I'm assuming if you're still listening, unless you've fallen asleep, that's the joke I use every time, that you've actually found this useful. I certainly hope so. Again, you can find all of my stuff at bilge.world. The thing that I have been working on, my online magazine is extratone.com. I just published my girlfriend's senior thesis, actually, which is pretty interesting. It's about dark humor in the workplace. I've done a bunch of updates. I wrote about pens on bilge.world too. I'm doing that interview. You can look for that. I think it'll be on, it's blog.write.as. I'll link it all over the place. I'll relink it in my blog, bilge.world. Again, did I tell you? It's bilge.world. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at neoyokel. Bilge.world/contact, I believe it is, it's /about, I'm sorry, is where you can find all my social links. I'm at David Blue on mastodon.social, and PixelFed. I'm on all those things. join those. Join our Discord, bit.ly/extratone, or just click one of the Discord links that's all over my social stuff. Come in and chat with me. Discord is a really powerful tool, and I've just been appreciating it more recently. I actually, you'll find on the Extratone Twitter, which is, surprise, surprise, at EXTRATONE. I did an export of the past few years of my reading list on Discord, and it's in a really pretty HTML file that looks like Discord, but it's an HTML file, and that's got over 4,000 links to cool stuff that I've been reading in the past few years, so I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, this has been another episode of End User. I appreciate you listening. I'm David Blue. I need to come up with some catchy... use the computer well. I wish you good use. I wish you power user auras. I wish good things to you. Stay safe. And oh yeah, there's a virus. Stay healthy. Stay inside. See you later.